Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here and you on that telly screen. Right, disclaimer. Before I start doing and talking about and delving into what I'm going to discuss today, I've always respected the Who Addicts YouTube channel. They're just a bunch of ordinary people. They've done well. It's a very successful channel. I like this channel. I've not always agreed with what they've had to say, especially on this season. I've been shocked on some of the episodes they've absolutely adored. But hey, each to their own. Now, what they decided to do yesterday was address the fandom. We know the fandom split. Unpopular opinion, it's always been split. It's probably been even more split since Moffat took over. Not just now, so there's always been a divide. The RTD fans versus the Moffat fans, so on. So we haven't been as one for a very long time, but that's fandom. It can be split. Now, I don't know what they're going to say in this video, what the lad's going to say in this video. I wasn't going to watch this because I didn't want to get triggered and start saying things about them, atting them and things like that, because I like them. But when you get triggered and when you're someone like me, you speak before you think. I love Doctor Who. I love the fact that Doctor Who fans can air their grievances in public. Now, the Who Addicts have been complaining for a few weeks now that they can't, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. If they love an episode, they get slaughtered. If they hate an episode, they get slaughtered. Well, guys, unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. When you're on social media, when you're a successful YouTuber, people will focus on you and criticize you, sometimes love you. Now, some people can handle that and some people can't. For me, sometimes when you do a YouTube video, you're letting off a bomb. And sometimes you run away before it explodes, which for me means you don't read your comments. So we're going to watch this video the Who Addicts did, right? And I will pause it now and again, and I will comment and tell you what I think. Should we go? Should we start? Let's do this.
Doctor Who fandom, it's time we talked. Now this video is completely off the cuff. It's been made absolutely on instinct. It's not been planned, it's not been scripted. I've not long ago finished watching The Witchfinders. And as you always do on a Sunday night, you go on Twitter after you watch an episode to see what people thought, you give your opinion, you talk to your friends about what they liked about the episode, what they didn't like the episode, and yeah, it's just a great time of the week where everyone can just come together and have a good old chat about their favourite show, Doctor Who. But unfortunately,
Here it comes.
I don't enjoy doing that anymore. And for the first time in 5.5 years of being on YouTube and having this channel, I felt intimidated to go on Twitter and give my opinion on the episode. I felt intimidated, I felt scared, and I felt hesitant. And that alarmed me to the point where I thought I have to make a video, because it's been bubbling up throughout the series, and I don't know if this is just a Doctor Who Series 11 thing, or if this has been happening years gone.
It's been happening since Moffat,
Rock,
and you know it.
being a hermit, although I am already a hermit, there's a reference for you. But for some reason, it seems like the Doctor Who fandom, throughout Doctor Who Series 11 especially, has become very toxic. And no matter whether you like an episode or dislike an episode, no matter what side of the fence you are, on Twitter, on YouTube, you get personally insulted and abused for just having an opinion.
Right, let's just stop it there and let's just discuss, right? First of all, no one should be abused or insulted, but it happens. It's part of what happens on social media. I don't like it. I do not like it. If you don't agree with me, I would never insult you or call you names or say you got yellow teeth or whatever. It happens to me all the time. The stuff that gets said about me. But the reality is, this is the problem now. There are people with a thin skin and there are people with a thick skin. Now, I feel for this lad that he feels intimidated. I do. And I forgot his name and I feel embarrassed about that. But, mate, you are a successful YouTuber. Surely you're used to people coming at you. And if you're not, what rock have you been hiding under? I am sorry. And I hate to say this, but if you are so intimidated, so scared to be open about what you think as a YouTuber, and if it's going to affect your mental health, because you do seem very intimidated and unsure of yourself, maybe you shouldn't be in this game for your own good, for your own mental health. So let's carry on.
Which is wrong. And for the first time having this channel, I honestly was scared to tweet out my thoughts, and I was scared to read the replies. And it's never been like this before, and I don't know why it's got like this now. Now, as you know, we are a YouTube channel that are very honest and very straight to the point, and we pride ourselves in...
He doesn't know why this is happening now. You do. You do know why it's happening now. You know what's going on, what's been done to this show. This show has been stripped away of everything that's made it good. And this has not just happened with Chibnall. This started off with Stephen Moffat, but at least it was entertaining. At least it got us thinking. Now we have just been given this bland affair. And people are passionate, but that doesn't give them a right to insult you or anyone else. I accept that. But let me tell you something else. You're never going to change it. Let's continue.
Our honesty and our passion towards the show. And yes, there have been times, I'm sure, in the 5.5 years which we've been on YouTube, where we've probably been too passionate, too critical about an episode, to a point where people have probably looked at us badly for that, and probably never forgave us for that. And for that, if I didn't disrespect anybody, I do apologise.
No. There's nothing to apologise for, mate. You had your opinions. I've seen your videos. I've never been triggered by what you say. Sometimes I don't agree with you, but that doesn't give me the right to go at you. I can have a constructive debate with you, and that's fine. But don't apologise. This is why I feel bad for this guy now, because he truly does look nervous. Unless he's a fantastic actor, I'll throw him an Oscar. Otherwise, this lad seems affected by this, and I don't want to see that. These are good guys. I love Liv, I love him, I love the other guy. There used to be another guy they used to do it with. Loved him. They used to do the Sonics. I loved all that. These are great guys, and I don't want to see them be like this. But I'm just saying it. If you truly think you can change what's going on, you can't. It will not change, and I'm sorry about that. It's a war now. I'm sorry. And unfortunately, if you take a side in a war, then the other side are going to go at you. It's horrible. It shouldn't happen, but it does. And it's not going to change, especially as long as we go in the direction the show's going. And that's very sad.
But it takes a lot for something to really get under our skin. You know, I don't know if it's a northern thing, but we're able to take constructive criticism and insults that come our way in our stride. You know, trust me, the things we've been called in the past for not liking an episode of Doctor Who have been shocking. But we've been able to, in our stride, brush it aside. But for the first time, it's started to get under my skin, and it's really riled me up. And it's not just the people on Twitter that are abusive, it's also the YouTubers and the YouTube channels, which I've come to notice this week, which have also really, really frustrated me.
Now, the problem is here, he's talking about something else. Now, what I'll tell you is, and I don't know if you know this about Who Addicts, earlier this week, they applauded a Mr. TARDIS video, which basically, and I think it basically said, if you do not like Doctor Who, get the fuck out of this fandom. Now, if you're applauding something like that, then people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Basically, Mr. TARDIS is saying, if you don't agree with us that the show's great, you should get out of this fandom. And this guy and his channel agreed with that. So at the end of the day, it's, you know, if you're going to start saying, I'm hurt, listen, what you're going through, we're all going through. We all get name called, we all get bullied, we all get DM'd, we all get threatened. That is the game. That's what it is. You either let it brush about you, because at the end of the day, you're not going to change it. What you'll do is now you'll get applauded by all the people who love you, and you'll get hated even more by the people who hate you already. At the end of the day, because if you criticize people in life, this is what happens. You've taken a side. You have taken a side, which means there's a war now, and it's no holds barred, unfortunately, on you.
And boiled me over to making this video. Now, what really baffles me is that it's both sides of the spectrum. You can't like an episode anymore without being called an idiot. You can't dislike an episode of Doctor anymore without being called an idiot. And everyone has their opinion, and everyone has their opinion on something, and there's no such thing as a wrong opinion. But if you love an episode, you're wrong. If you hate an episode, you're wrong. And that's what frustrates us more than anything. If an episode airs and we put on Twitter that we dislike it for this, this, and this, people will then come back at us and say, "You're idiots. You need your head checking, calling us names. We hate Doc."
Do you know what, mate? If you're triggered by being called an idiot, how are you gonna survive in real life? Surely people in real life have called you an idiot. Do you know what I've had to go through in my life? What so many people had to go through in my life? I was racially abused at school because I was Greek Cypriot. I was beaten up, and somehow I'm still here. I know some people can take more than others. Maybe the lad has had a sheltered life. I don't know. It's not right to be called an idiot, but it happens. The internet and social media are a reactive format. It's as simple as that. And if you're going to carry on having this successful YouTube channel, you have to think about it. I'm not saying it's okay, but if you can't handle being called an idiot because someone disagrees with what you're saying, and I'm saying they're the idiots for calling you an idiot, of course I am. It gets done to me all the time. I'm not even a big YouTube. I've got just over 200 subscribers. I'm a nothing, right? I'm an absolute nothing. But at the end of the day, if you can't handle being called an idiot, you really are in trouble.
So we hate everything. We're negative. We're a horrible YouTube channel. We're horrible people just because we didn't like that particular episode. But then the week after, we could then love an episode and we could praise it till the cows go home. We can praise it till the sun sets, to the universe and back. And then there will be then people who will then jump on, call us names. "You're wrong. This episode was rubbish. You don't know a good episode of Doctor Who," and abusing us because we loved something. And it's like there's people on YouTube who just want to be different. They just want to say the opposite of what everyone else is saying or what you are saying because they just don't like you. And we get the same names. And I'm not going to name them because I'm respectful in that way. But we get the same names week in, week out. If we love something, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to jump on and they're going to dislike it and they're going to have a go at us and call us names for loving it. But then the week after, if we jump on and say we didn't like something, that same person will for sure jump on and have a go at us for the opposite opinion, calling us names once again. And I'm not the only person who's feeling this. I know a lot of YouTubers and content creators, podcasters who are becoming very, very scared to put their opinion on Twitter and YouTube, and that's wrong.
This isn't a new thing, by the way. This has been happening since year dot. This has been happening since the Moffat era. People being attacked. This isn't new. No, it's not right. But I would say to you, come up with ideas to change it. Because unless you can change it, and you want to get this, listen, they want to do this video to get it out their system, and that's fine. But I just wonder if this doesn't stir the pot even more. How are we going to have peace? How are we going to respect each other if we're just... And you have to look at it from other people's point of view. Now, I've never seen these guys, trigger anyone or do anything bad or negative. I must admit, they seem like really nice people. I'm going to say that from the offset. But at the end of the day, all this video really does is get it out of his system. And that's cool and that's fine. But at the end of the day, you ain't going to solve the problem of society, of life. This is a societal issue, right? This is what happens in real life. People get insulted when they don't agree with each other, especially in these triggered, heated times when television is going really political and people are getting triggered by it. So if they see people okaying stuff that they don't like, which they're really passionate about, this is what happens. It isn't good, but it's the way that it is.
It's wrong that people are feeling this way because these horrible trolls who are simply out there just to disagree, spread abuse and spread hate. And I don't know why the series has brought out the worst in this fandom.
Yes, you do. You do know why. This is the second time you're saying it. You know damn well why. If you listen, you're out there. You know what's going on. And you know that people are triggered, first of all, because a female doctor was cast, rightly or wrongly, right? But that's the worst thing is it's gone even worse than that. The last episode just stood there for 10 minutes slating men, having King James be a sexist just so the female doctor can get triggered about it, and keep on telling us how the 17th century was hard for women. No shit, doctor, we know that, but we can't go back to the 17th century and change that. And the problem is, with these feminist people in media and entertainment, they only focused on themselves, on Western women. They don't care about the females who are being raped and tortured in the third world. No, if you're a real feminist, you'd be flying over there and becoming a mercenary and helping them. But it's all about virtue signalling. And this is why people, you see how het up I'm getting? Because it's lies upon lies. Women in the UK and America have fantastic lives, most of them, right? But they're moaning that they haven't got this and they haven't got that, that there's not enough female leads on TV. And when they do get onto TV, we get a version like the female doctor, a hollow chisel, an empty box of fresh air. There was a real opportunity with this Doctor Who to make it great, but instead she's just there, she's not fleshed out, and now we've seen her in a long scarf. By the way, these guys are very excited about that. Yay! So without any fleshing out or character development, people are saying, oh, look, she's changed her outfit. Look how far she's come. No, that's not how character development works.
Now, you see people who, people might not like the 13th Doctor. And it's nothing to do with her gender. There are people out there who might not like the 13th Doctor because they don't like how her character reacted in this scene, or they don't like her characteristics, or they think that she's missing something, or she could do better at this. But if then people say that, they're sexist. This side of the fandom will absolutely destroy them, calling them sexist because they don't like Jodie Whittaker. No, they didn't mention their gender, but because they don't like Jodie Whittaker, they're sexist. And then, for instance, earlier in the series when there was this, there was rumours or there were tremors of a potential relationship between 13 and Yaz. And there are people who will say, I'm not a fan of 13 and Yaz being in a relationship or whatever because I don't feel like their characters know each other enough. Or it just doesn't fit the show right now. Or, logical reasons as to why they think that might not work in the show. But then there's people who jump on and you're homophobic. You're hating them because it's two women who might be, in love with each other. You're against gay people. You're homophobic. And I'm just like, calm down. Why is the fact...
Now, this is one thing that me and the Who addicts can agree with. This is what's happening now. Now, I go on Twitter. There's so many people trying to ship 13 and Yaz. Now, I wouldn't normally have any problem with this, but the problem is there's been no hint that these two have any feelings for each other. I know someone said, are you together? But Chibnall said at the start of the season, the Doctor would not have a relationship or fall in love with any of her companions. So unless he's going back on himself, and maybe when he sees what the chatter, maybe he'll do it. It's been done before. But just because, he's right, just because someone says they don't think it's going to work, they don't think it's the right direction to go in, you're called homophobic. But this is the problem. Let me tell you why what he's saying there is absolutely spot on. But let me explain to you why it's happening. Because we've got people invading this fandom who don't give two hoots about Doctor Who. The only reason they're watching is because a female is in the lead role and it's getting a lot of media and political chatter, and they're jumping on the bandwagon. You see a lot of new kind of accounts on Twitter with pictures of Jodie Whittaker as a profile, right? You go, they've got about 30 followers because they only started those accounts when Jodie Whittaker was cast as the Doctor. And my word, if you say anything about her or anything about the current show, you're jumped on as a sexist or a racist or whatever. Now, I've said this before. It's not my right to tell you what I am and what I'm not. I'm not going to defend myself if you say you're a racist, you're homophobic. I don't even care if that's what you think of me. It's always other people's decision to decide who and what you are. You're faced in front of the world, especially when you do things like this. It's up to you to write my legacy and tell me if you think I'm a bad person or good. I think I'm a bit of everything. Good, bad, indifferent. I've done bad things in my life, good things in my life. I don't regret any of them. But the point is, once you start accusing people of being... Then why don't I start accusing the woman who wrote this week's episode of Doctor Who of being sexist against men? You saw what happened this week. The first time this series where they've really gone for it, surprise, surprise, written by a woman, directed by a woman, which is great. We want talented women and men and everyone to get a fair shout. But there was no need to go the direction, oh, if only I was a man. Why do I have to keep on defending myself? This is the problem. You are triggering people. You're making the situation worse. So I definitely agree with Who Addicts about this.
And they're so oversensitive, so overprotective. It feels like you can't jump on and remotely dislike something about an episode now without being absolutely abused to the ground for it. So then when you feel paranoid about that, you then start second guessing yourself and thinking, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I am a horrible, hateful person. So then you start loving things a little bit more than you would, being a bit more lenient on the show, but then you get insulted for that. So yeah, Twitter is becoming a very difficult place to be. And that you can sort of take, you can sort of, that's fine. But then this week, I've noticed some YouTube channels. And I don't know if I've been living under a rock, like I said, but there have been YouTube channels that I've discovered this week who are dedicated to hating Doctor Who. But when I see some of these YouTube channels who are dedicated to being disrespectful to Jodie Whittaker, disrespectful to Chris Chibnall, and I'm not saying that they're making videos because they didn't like an episode because of the plot or this character. They are personally taking horrendously disrespectful insults aimed at Jodie Whittaker, aimed at Chris Chibnall. I'm just, it makes me feel better because the way we've spoken about episodes in the past, that's subtle compared to some of these people who are going out of their way to spread hate.
Now, he's talking about, I know who he's talking about. He's talking about Bow Streak. Now, he's a very older guy. He's a very old school Doctor Who fan. He is obviously a right-winger. I'm not, by the way. I'm not. My dad votes Labour. We've always voted Labour. But, yeah, basically, he's talking about Bow Streak, and he's talking about a new channel, and he's called L something, and I forgot what his name is. But, now, if he's talking about them, he's not... If you think that's being disrespectful and offensive to Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, you really, really need to toughen up. And I think, why do you care? Why do you care that they're disrespecting them anyway? They're big. He's a big boy. She's a big girl. They're in this industry. You have to listen. I'm in this industry. You have to be tough. So they can handle it. So should you. But at the end of the day, if you are talking about Bow Streak, I think that's what he's called, and the El Patron, right? It is a new account. I watch him because he amuses me, right? But the stuff they're saying isn't actually... If you're talking about them, it's not insulting. They are criticising what they're doing. And they have every right to do it, as you do. Now, these channels you're talking about haven't gone at you. Now, you haven't mentioned the YouTube channels, although I'm here talking about you, because I'm a front-faced person. I'm a direct person, and I don't care what comes at me. But at the end of the day, if you're really saying those two channels are being disrespectful to Jodie and Chris, then you really don't get it.
And not only that, there was a YouTube channel I discovered this week, and I'm not going to name it once again because the reason why I strongly dislike this channel is because of how they target people, but I'm sure there are people out there who know I'm referring to, and they also probably know I'm referring to them. There's also YouTube channels that I've seen who are taking YouTubers' videos and doing direct responses to that video, insulting that YouTuber. And one video I watched this morning really, really peed me off. A YouTuber, a good friend of ours, made a video about mental health. And because he was dressed in a certain way, or as a certain person, this YouTube channel made a video in response to him, saying that he had a mental illness because of how he dresses, because of who he is. And I just thought, why on earth do you people exist? And it's just...
Well, what he's talking about is bang out of order, isn't he? And I don't know if it was El Patron who did that. If it was, I don't agree with that whatsoever. I do not agree with that. Let me repeat to you, I do not agree with it. But what was said in the video, I don't know. You see, what happens is in war, and this is what it is. It's a war of words. Someone says something, you say, it's like a tennis match. It keeps on going backwards and forwards, and it never ends, because once we get political, this is the problem. If My dad always said, right, if you don't talk about politics and religion at the dinner table. It just causes a bad mood. And this is what's happened here. Because politics has become the forefront of entertainment now, this is what happens. This is the problem. People have to do YouTube videos saying, I'm this. And now, people of all genders, all persuasions have the right to go onto YouTube and say, listen, I'm coming out, I'm this, that. Oh, I've got mental health. The thing is now, we encourage people to talk about mental health, not attacking people. I've suffered with mental health issues. I still do. It's part of my life, right? But at the end of the day, I'm at a place. Now, I wouldn't do a video about all that. I would do a video to try and shine a light on it, to help people so they don't end up killing themselves, so they can have better lives. But there is people out there who are not accepting. And once you come out there and you start talking so straightly, you know you're going to be... Now, this is the problem. Some people just can't handle it. I know that. And if you can't be on this format. I'm sorry about that. It's not right. It's not the way the world should be. But it is what it is.
There's 10% of the fandom who are really, really starting to make it a horrible place to be. And that is such a sad thing to say, because 90% of this fandom I still love, I still adore. You know, there are some great people out there who do so many amazing things. YouTubers, podcasters, blogs, artists, you name it. YouTubers like Mr. TARDIS, Crispy Pro, Ace Creeper.
YouTubers like Mr. TARDIS. This is where it all falls down, Who Addicts, isn't it? You basically are saying Mr. TARDIS, a bully who targets people who do not like Season 11, who do not like the 13th Doctor. You're contradicting yourself. This is the problem. You respect Mr. TARDIS, a bully who told people who don't like Series 11, who don't like the 13th Doctor, to get the fuck out of this fandom. First of all, he's not the president of the Doctor Who fandom and has no right. See, basically, you've just shouted out a guy who's not a very nice person, and this is where your argument falls down. Watch his videos, see what kind of person he really is before you back him.
5 Who fans, Council of Geeks, Doctor Who, podcasters like the Big Blue Box podcast. You've got...
All the people he's naming, of course, are successful YouTubers, and this is the problem. And this is not just about toxic fandom. This is about people pissing on their parade. They don't like the fact that young channels are coming in and maybe getting a lot of popularity quickly because what they're saying is resonating. It's resonating. That's the thing. They don't like it because they've always had it their own way. So they'll twist it and talk about toxic fandom, but really they're worried about losing subs. And I suspect that this video was done for that reason.
5 Who podcast. You've got blogs like The Time Mage. You've got Doctor Who Puppet. Doctor Puppet. You've got so many great YouTubers who do so many great things. Make this fandom such a great place to be, this community. And we all have respect for each other. And we all, yes, might have different opinions, but we accept that. But there's this 10% of people who are emerging from the cracks, who are really starting to make it uncomfortable and are targeting people in a horrible way. And the message of this video is, if you are out there and you are scared to jump on Twitter and talk about your favourite show in an honest way, like it or not, or you are wanting to make a YouTube channel but you're scared of these horrible people who might subscribe to you, give you abuse, troll you online, call you names because of your opinion, don't be scared of them. Do not.
I'm not scared, and nobody else is scared. If you're scared to say your opinion, Mr. Who Addicts, I don't believe that. You're portraying something really good. Some of the stuff you said was brilliant, and some of the stuff you said was a bit fake and generic. But at the end of the day, you have a right to do your video, absolutely. But I think you're talking about people coming out the cracks that you don't like. Now, you said a lot of good stuff about people being accused of being homophobic and racist and all that. But the problem is you're sitting on the fence. And I think this is the problem. 1 minute you're praising the 13th Doctor, then you're calling her you're asking if she's too generic on Twitter. Now, I would suspect that the Who addicts don't really like season 11 and don't particularly like the 13th Doctor. That's what I think. But they're running a business and they can't, they don't, not can't, but they do not want to go that way. So basically what I'd say is it's a situation here where he does say some interesting things that I can agree with, but it's great to disagree. I don't agree with everything he said. It doesn't matter who's coming out from the cracks. Everyone has a voice in this community, in any community. And if you don't like that voice, that's your problem. If you're being attacked and bullied, that is wrong. All you can really do to stop that, because I said earlier you can't, is report them to the police. I'm not here to troll you, Who addicts. I respect you. But I am here to say that I'm a small channel and I'm fed up of hearing about this toxicity and all that. It is what it is. The Doctor Who fandom has always been toxic. The actors, the creators, the producers, Russell T Davies, Stephen Moffat, all know this is a toxic fandom. They don't like us because of that. Now, at the end of the day, I've tried to be as fair and as straight as I can, and I've just said what's in my opinion. Now, if people see that as toxicity and not right, that's down to them. I love you, Who addicts. I will still follow you, but you just need to decide where you're coming from. And I think the best thing for you is to actually come out and say what you really think of season 11. If you like what you saw, like the video, share the video, please subscribe and be nice to everyone, even if you don't agree with them.